There we go. I have kind of a little bit of a different training. So I want you guys to make sure you have pen and paper before we get started, because I'm going to give you kind of some like exploratory questions to ask yourself. So you're going to want pen and paper to write them down, and then room to like really think about answers and write down answers later on. I will give you my examples of the questions, the answers I would have to these questions. And today's going to kind of be short and sweet because we're leaving today, and I still need to get myself and 3 children packed before 2 o'clock. So, but that's how I roll. I always pack last minute. So today's going to be nice and short and sweet. But I think it's super impactful what the message I'm going to deliver. And here we go. A couple of housekeeping things is we are still under the 20% off sale. That is going through the weekend. And I have story slides to people that showed up live today. So Grace and Brianna, go ahead and shoot me a message on Messenger, and I'll kick over those story slides for you. And you can use them today. So thank you for showing up live. But don't forget the 20% off. It's good for new and existing promoters and customers. So it's a great way to stock up. If you need product, it's a great way to get people started, people that have been on the fence, that kind of thing. So don't forget about that. Okay. So I titled today's training, Finding Your Ideal Customer, because I think this is a great way for you to tailor your message to find customers easier. There was a quote by a Rory Baden. I have no idea who this person is. I just found it. And it said, "You are most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were." I'm going to repeat that so it sinks in. You are the most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were. So what we're going to do is I want you to think about who you were before Thrive. So my story goes, I was a tired, exhausted, and worn out busy mama before Thrive. So my ideal customer and my message should be tailored around the person I used to be. So my ideal customer would be other tired, exhausted, and worn out busy mamas. My message should be very specific to that. And it wasn't until I learned that that's how because at first, when all this, build a brand and have a niche and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, it's just not really what I think I want to do. Thrive is good for everybody. Like from the cradle to the grave, we promote that all the time. It's a great product. It's good for men. It's good for women. It's good for everybody. And it took a mindset coach that I had hired a few years ago to, help me see. And she's like, "You're right. Your product is good for everybody, but your message is very mom specific because that's the era of your life." She goes, "So if you go," and this was talking about adding to my network, is she's like, "If you go add a bunch of empty nesters to your network, yeah, Thrive is good for them. However, your message is very mom specific, and it's just not gonna resonate the same with them. Not that your message isn't good and not that they're not an ideal customer, but your message isn't going to resonate the same with them." So she said, "You really want to focus on the other busy, tired, exhausted, and worn out busy moms that are going to hear your message and go, my mind is blown. I have to try this product." So that's where my message was then I really started to tailor. Oh geez. Sorry. I mean, he has no boundaries. This Maine Coon cat, like, can you believe him? He's 4 months old. He's a big boy at 4 months old, but he has no boundaries. And he just ran across my desk and my lap, and he's like, "I got things to do. I got things to tear up," is what he's saying. But anyway, I digress. That's when I got really specific with understanding that it's easy for me to talk about that kind of stuff. So the person who you used to be, whether, oh, thank you, Grace. He's special. He's definitely special. He was Tabby's birthday present this year. But anyway, I know, like, Nikki comes from the corporate America, world. And so like, who were you before Thrive? Talk about that, because those are the people that are going to hear your message, and you're going to be able to serve and help them with your product and your opportunity. So I have 3 exploratory questions for you. So pen and paper and write these down. The first one is, what challenges have you conquered? Whether it be with and you could talk about the product or the opportunity. And honestly, I would do both. I would do across the top, what challenges have you conquered? And then product side, opportunity side for all of these issues. So like for me, what challenges have I conquered? I'm no longer tired, exhausted, and worn out. The other thing is I love what I do because it allows me to be a present mom. It has allowed me, I mean, I say it a lot, especially in public events. Like, I shudder to think about the relationship I would have with my children at this point had I stayed cutting hair. Not that the hair industry is a bad industry, but I was literally dropping them off at daycare at 7 a.m. and picking them up at 5 o'clock, or their dad was picking them up at 5 o'clock because I was working the nights, and I was working every Saturday. And it was like, I remember thinking back then, like, if I picked them up at 5, their bedtime was 7 o'clock. I got 2 hours every night with my kids. And most of it was like a struggle between like homework, dinner. I was exhausted. Because at the time, like, there was t-ball and there was soccer, and you know what it's like. And then we had a barn full of animals that needed taken care of. It was like, it was nuts. I'm definitely more at peace because I don't have that life. So for me, the product has, yes, no quality fun time. The product has, I'm no longer tired, exhausted, and worn out. I mean, sure, there's days where I'm exhausted, but it's usually because I pack every ounce I suck the life out of every day. Like, I'm like that person that, okay, I've got 20 minutes. What can I do? Where's my to-do list? Because I know there's something on that list I could cross off, if not 2 things. So I literally suck the life out of every day, and I go to bed exhausted, but it's not because I just can't do anything. It's because I've done more than the average human. Okay, ready for your second question? Is, what obstacles have you overcome? So in this, I would spin this more, well, because for me, the obstacle would be like, for the business side, the obstacle would be, well, I didn't know what I was doing. And neither Angie or I knew what we were doing. I didn't know what I was doing, but I figured it out. And now you don't have to figure it out because I can tell you. The product side, what obstacles did I overcome? I didn't understand how important vitamins were. Like, I grew up with vitamins. My grandparents gave us vitamins every morning. But it wasn't until I stopped taking them that I realized how important they were, and then got back on got back on good vitamins as an adult, that I was like, holy crap. So for me, that was the aha moment. So that's the stuff you can talk about. Like, and I talk about it all the time. You don't realize how crummy you feel being vitamin deficient. And you don't realize that till you're no longer vitamin deficient. So what obstacles have you overcome for the business side? Because these people are going to have the same kinds of thoughts. There's people out there that think, oh, I can't do what you do, or I could never do that. Did you think that? Did you go into this thinking, oh, I could never do that? Then talk about that, because that's an obstacle you've overcome. I couldn't pay for my products. It was a struggle. I didn't have any money, but I earned credits. That's an obstacle you overcame. The company allows us to work our business like through Thrive and Mingles, so I can earn credits, and I can earn free products, and I can earn free. They literally reward us for doing our job. Blows my mind. crazy. But we're grateful. We're super grateful. So, and then the third question is, what setbacks have you survived through your journey? What setbacks have you survived? There's lots of months I lost rank. There's lots of months I lost my auto bonus. But it was always because of what I was not doing. You know, what setbacks have you survived? There was a time where I didn't realize, especially in the beginning of using the product, I didn't realize there was a detox that you went through where you literally felt like the product wasn't working anymore. I coach so many people on where they say, oh, it was working for a couple months, but it just, my body got used to it and it's not working anymore. And I'm like, no, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. Because I'm taking it 7.5 years later and I could still feel those capsules light up my soul every morning. You stopped taking it correctly. So is that something you could talk about? You know, and I wouldn't say that I stopped taking it correctly for any given time, but I know when I didn't do it right on a day, whether I didn't get my shake in when it was supposed to, or I didn't drink enough water, I can feel that. Like I can read my body and I know if I'm crashing in the afternoon, I know I didn't, like the other day, I forgot my patch. Like, I don't even know how I walked out of the house. It's sitting on the freaking counter, but I felt that. Like, I remember thinking it was 1 o'clock going, why is my butt dragging? And then I looked down, I'm like, oh, I forgot my patch today. You know? So what setbacks have you survived? Because there are setbacks in everything. Every journey has a setback, whether you're on a weight loss journey or a fitness journey, or if you're on a, you know, I just want to get healthy journey, or if it's a business journey. Every journey has setbacks, but that's where we learn. So what have you learned? Have you learned that, you know, live videos, although they're out of your comfort zone, really move the needle? Have you learned that giving samples? What did you learn? So, because other people are going to resonate with that. Other people are going to be like, oh, she's not perfect at this. She does make mistakes and she does have setbacks. You know, Ange and I hit 200K super fast, but that doesn't mean we kept it every month after that. You know, it's hard to keep to I would have to tell you, and I'll be super honest, it is easier to get there than it is to maintain it. But the problem with that is because when people get there, they stop doing what they were doing to get there. And that's why they don't maintain. If you've ever lost a rank, if you've achieved a rank and lost a rank, you know that's true. You know you stopped doing what you were doing to get there. So all you have to do is go back to doing the same things you were doing when you got there the first place, and then not stop. You won't ever lose rank. So those are your 3 questions. So keep in mind, the first quote is, you are most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were. So who were you before Thrive? Who was that person? Were you burnt out at work? Were you in corporate America and you're like, I just can't live this life anymore? And now you don't have to. Were you a tired, exhausted, and worn out person like me? And that's, maybe you're not, you know, you don't have 2-legged kids, but you have a ton of 4-legged kids like Grace does, you know, and she's got 2-legged kids. They're just called chickens, you know? So who were you before Thrive? Who were you before you found this product? Who are you now because of this product? Though that person you were before is your ideal customer. And that is where your message is going to come through most authentic. And it's going to be easier for you to talk about that. It's going to be easier for you to talk about your story on video, on Reels, to people in person. It's just going to be so much easier to do it that way if you really grasp who you were before Thrive, because those are the people that are going to be connected to you, because your vibe attracts your tribe. Like people are connected. They just connect to you because you've got a lot of similarities. So a lot of times your issues and obstacles and things that you would like to change about your life or yourself or whatever are similar. So does anybody have any questions about that? No? No. Okay, don't forget to, I'm gonna stop the recording.